Do you have a table of file paths? It might look something like this. So in my conversations in the past year with a number of Python developers, I have noticed a strong trend of very good, strong developers who are maintaining a table just like this. What do you do once you have a table full of file paths? Why do you keep it? I'm going to read out loud some notes that I put on my phone after talking to one of these developers. So number one, you write a function and map it. So you map it across all the rows so that you're actually mapping the function to maybe do some image transformations on the images that exist at the end of each of those file paths. Number two, you make sure that the output of that function is one thing, and it needs to be a specific pandas type or a valid path to a new file if you're doing generation. And then number three, you end up with this table of file paths that you are endlessly maintaining and iterating on. And you never actually get to see your inputs and your outputs side by side. So if this is you, allow me to introduce you to a better kind of workflow with Pixeltable. So I'm going to get started in this notebook. I'm going to show you real quick what the actual solution is, what the takeaway is, and then I'm going to talk you through a few examples of how to make the most of those file paths that you're keeping in a table. So the solution in Pixeltable is that when you're bringing the files in for the first time and setting up your first table, you use this argument called schema underscore overrides. You use it on import so that a path column becomes a media column. So that's the way that you make something a media column, like of type Pixeltable image, video, or audio. So you use Pixeltable's multimodal type system to let Pixeltable know that, hey, this column is not just a string. It's not just characters. It means something. There's something at the end of it that we need to be able to work with. And then Pixeltable does a lot of stuff under the hood for you once it knows that. So real quick, the first question I get when I talk to users who are concerned about this table of file paths conversion over to Pixeltable, they ask me, what do I get from it? So what do I actually get out of Pixeltable that makes it worth me doing this schema override stuff to be able to bring my media into Pixeltable? And I think there's 4 reasons why you would want to do it. If none of these 4 apply to you, then you can keep going with your table full of file paths. There's nothing wrong with that workflow. So the first reason why you might want to bring it into Pixeltable is that Pixeltable will enable you to run media transforms now row by row with built-in functionality for each media type. So being able to do pillow image transformations, for example, or FFmpeg conversions, things like that. If you want to apply them row-wise to your media files, then moving them into Pixeltable and letting Pixeltable know what kind of media type they are gives you access to be able to do those transforms really easily and keep track of the inputs and outputs within a table API. You also get a unified API in Python, so it doesn't matter what media type you're working with, it's all going to be the same API, so it makes it simpler to be able to work both with audio, image, video, but it also makes it easier for you to be able to extract different channels from those media files. So a lot of times if you're working with video files, for example, you're not just working with the video, you want to work with the audio, you want to be able to work with the transcript. So Pixeltable is one API for all of those different modalities. It also enables you to call models for like object detection, for example. You can use AI for understanding or generative models, and all of it uses the source media files as inputs. You can also do hierarchical chunking, like turning videos into frames, audio into segments so that you can transcribe it. So all of those functions are what Pixeltable enables once you make it a certain multimodal type that gives you access to those transformations. So that's just one reason. The second reason is that it allows you to compare outputs of different transformation steps side by side in a larger, more complex media processing pipeline. So most of the time when we talk to multimodal developers, they're often not just like one and done with a single transformation. You often need to experiment with different models or be able to experiment with different combinations of processing steps before you even get to the modeling stage. So Pixeltable enables a really easy table API that allows you to compare things side by side, look at inputs and outputs, and you're not kind of, wrestling around in your file systems trying to figure out where the for loop sent the input from this one and where the output is from that one. So that's number 2. Number 3 is it allows you to add new media rows and run the same transformation recipe on only the new data. So this is Pixeltable's incremental compute function. And so what it enables you to do is to be able to save those pricey processed outputs and just generate new outputs when you have new data. So number 4 and final reason to use Pixeltable for replacing your table full of file paths workflow is that you get media validation on ingest. So it's not just showing you that you have like the existence or access to the file at the end of that file path, but it also gives you type and format validity. So bad paths or corrupt files can be recorded on the cell. The rest of the ingest can still run, but it enables you to be able to inspect that, treat it as data, and recompute, reinsert as needed. All right, having said all that, I'm going to get to the solution. So the setup here is pretty simple. You need to install Pixeltable. I'm also going to be using Pandas, PyArrow, and SQL Alchemy. I'm going to run this code chunk at the top here. This is just setting up a directory for me to work in. And then it's also setting up a sample catalog. So I'm showing you here that I'm going to be inserting 3 rows from file paths. So the first column is going to be name, and that's just a character string, cat, scene, or people. And then the second column is actually image. And so that's taking a hosted image from the Pixeltable GitHub repository and then appending the file path at the end. So all we've done is created a little subset of 3 images that I'm going to insert into Pixeltable in various formats. So let's start with CSV. So we're going to write a CSV of path rows, then import it with schema override so that that image column becomes pxt image. So here I'm going to create that images table. So create table using that schema overrides. And then here I'm going to show you exactly what it read in. So we can look at the images name column, images image column, and then you can see that here I'm just on the fly inside this Pixeltable query computing the image width because I have access to those kinds of functions because it's reading it as an actual image. Okay, so that's CSV files, and that's a really quick and dirty way to be able to get those tables of file paths into a place where you can actually work within a table API and do media transformations on them. So importing from Parquet works the exact same way. I'm here creating a Parquet path, and I'm using the source format Parquet, schema overrides image. And here I'm going to show you the results of another query, the exact same one that I did before. And you can see that I'm bringing in that Parquet file. The images are rendering in my table. And now I can do whatever I want with them now that they're stored in Pixeltable. I'm also going to import from Pandas. So you can pass a data frame of path strings to create table with the exact same override. So same thing again. I'm creating a data frame here with Pandas using those path rows. Source is the DF, and schema overrides for image to make it a pxt.image type. And here's the output. Oh, here I don't have the image, so I'm going to add it real quick. From Pandas image, let's show you. There you go. So you can see it all together. And finally, I'm going to import from SQL. So you can load path strings from a SQL table, then promote the path column with that schema overrides when you use import_SQL. So let's run this code chunk here. You can see I'm creating a table called from_SQL using import SQL. I've got my source. I've got this engine that I defined up here, which should be pretty familiar to you. And then I'm doing that schema overrides. So let's see again. It looks like I'm missing. There we go. Let's run that code chunk. And again, we have an image. Ta-da. Okay, so I said that the first most popular question I get is, what do I get from using these multimodal types in Pixeltable in the first place? And hopefully the previous section answered why and how you do that. Now in this section, I'm going to address the second question that I get from new Pixeltable users, which is, where did my data go? So when you first start working with Pixeltable, it's a little mystifying, and you might also be used to writing a lot of scripts that actually do this for you, where you're really trying to keep track of the different URLs and where the different inputs and outputs are. So the main thing to remember with Pixeltable is that it's actually all built in for you because it's actually made for working with media data and with media files as references. So the answer to where did my data go is that you don't need to track it yourself. So if you're using Pixeltable as sort of the API for working with your data, it's the bridge between your structured and unstructured data. So you don't need to be extracting file paths and keeping track of the locations of the different files. So you don't need a second column for the URL. You don't need to manage downloads or a media folder yourself. Pixeltable tracks the locations on the media column through properties on the column itself. So our column here is called image, and you can do image.fileURL, and that gives you the original URI you inserted. So that preserves the HTTPS, the S3 link, all of those original sources are preserved with .fileURL. So that's a durable reference, and often the reference that you'd like to be able to extract and save. And you can create a column with this in your Pixeltable, but you don't need to do a lot of like grepping and figuring this out on your own. You can just add a computed column and say that it's equal to image.fileURL. The second property is image.localPath. So this is appending .localPath onto an image column, or a video column, or an audio column, any media column. So that shows you where that file is on disk right now. So by default, everything that Pixeltable manages lives under this Pixeltable directory locally on your computer. You're not expected to kind of touch those files directly or poke at them. You can use the SDK or the Pixeltable CLI to be able to interact with them. So usually when you're working with media data, you've got some kind of like structured table data and then remote media that you imported, and then the local path, and then the generated media, and you're keeping track of all of that. And this is exactly what Pixeltable does for you with an integrated system. So all you need to worry about is the nice table API, and Pixeltable does all of this under the hood for you. So the database stores the references, and Pixeltable gives you the glue so that one table interface covers all of that for you. So you can select fileURL. You can look at it, save it as a computed column when you need a stable reference for export logging or for an API. You can use .localPath for like an immediate local read. You don't necessarily want to copy localPath into another column. Cache paths can change, but here I'm going to show you the output for this table images and showing you the name of the file, cat, scene, people, and the file URL is preserved. So this is still showing you the raw GitHub URL, but you can see that the actual file that we're working on, the local path, is actually stored in my Pixeltable cache here. Okay. Final section is dealing with errors. So I said that one of the reasons why you would want to use Pixeltable to replace your table of file paths workflow is that you get this additional media validation bonus with Pixeltable. So Pixeltable validates media on ingest. The path has to be fetchable and the file must match the media type that you've specified. And there's certain files that are allowed and certain ones that aren't. So by default, Pixeltable uses this on error abort. And that is a good default to have if you're wanting to be super careful. So it means one bad path in your entire insert will stop the whole insert. So this section uses a noisy path table. I'm going to show you how I'm going to provide both a missing image file and then a corrupted path. And instead of using the default on error abort, I'm going to actually use on error ignore so that the bad rows are kept with error details instead of aborting. So similar to local path and file URL, those are properties on the media column. Pixeltable also stores errors as properties on the media column if they occur. So this is just a setup chunk right here where I'm going to take a Pandas data frame. I'm going to insert some missing and corrupted rows here. I think the cat is still valid because I'm keeping path row 1. So I'm going to show you now how I'm going to create a table using that schema override still, but I'm going to choose on error ignore here so that you can see the output. Oh, and it's telling me on already exists because I ran it. So let's do if exists replace. I do replace. There we go. Okay, so created table with errors, inserted 3 rows with 4 errors across 2 columns. So let's look at every row. Cat should be fine. So there's no errors here. The missing and the corrupted ones have different error types and messages. So the error type for the missing ones, so this is the one where I inserted, I believe, does not exist JPEG. So that says failed to download. So it couldn't actually find the JPEG file. And then the other one was corrupted path. And so for that one, it says request error, not a valid image. So these are really helpful to know. And especially when you're doing bulk inserts into Pixeltable and you've got some kind of S3 bucket or some other kind of storage of media files, it's really hard to kind of play whack-a-mole and figure out which ones errored out for which reason and how to retry them. So this allows you to be able to not have it, you know, kill the entire insert, but it's inspectable and you can treat it like data. So I'm going to show you the same table with errors, showing you just the failures only. So this is showing you with a where statement. With errors, image error type is not equal to none. So when it's equal to none, that means all good. Everything kind of went through, and that's what the cat did. So missing and corrupted show up here, so you can immediately see which are the rows that had problems. And media columns can't be updated in place. So if you want to fix this, if you want to fix a bad row, delete it, then insert the same name again with a corrected path, you can keep what's already inserted properly. And here I'm going to delete the ones So using the same filter that I did here, so I'm going to delete those 2 rows. So just the 2 where error type is not equal to none. And then I'm going to reinsert those names with valid image paths. And then here you can see that we're all set again with Pixeltable.